The alien woman shivered in the cold until I gave her my coat. Lisa Stevens never expected to meet an alien on her morning jog through the woods near her small town home. The tall, purple-skinned woman with 4 arms and silver eyes stood trembling beside the small crater where her escape pod had landed. The morning fog wrapped around the trees, making the scene feel like something from a dream. Lisa stopped in her tracks, her breath forming small clouds in the chilly autumn air. The alien woman looked at Lisa with fear in her large silver eyes. Her thin body shook from the autumn chill. Her clothing seemed designed for a much warmer climate. The material glimmered like silk but offered little protection against earth temperatures. The fabric shifted colors as she moved, revealing intricate patterns that no human loom could create. Lisa hesitated only a moment before pulling off her warm jacket and approaching slowly with her hands visible. She held out the coat as a peace offering. The alien woman tilted her head curiously, studying the human before her. Lisa noticed how the alien tensed her muscles, ready to flee if necessary. But hunger and cold had weakened her. The crash had left small cuts on her purple skin that seemed to shimmer with a silver liquid. Trust did not come easy to Kira. She had escaped her planet when the brutal Zorgan Empire invaded. They had killed her family and destroyed her homeworld. She had programmed her escape pod to find a habitable planet, but had no idea what species she might encounter. Her people had legends of other worlds, but few had traveled beyond their solar system. Kira was a scientist, not a warrior. She had watched her laboratory burn as the Zorgans bombarded her city. Kira watched as the small pink creature approached her. The human female moved carefully, showing no signs of aggression. When Lisa offered her jacket, Kira sensed genuine kindness. Something she had not expected from an unknown species. She had been told that primitive worlds often feared differences. Her scanners had shown that humans had only achieved basic space travel. They had never made contact with other intelligent life. Their history showed they often fought among themselves. Yet this one showed compassion. Lisa smiled as the alien took the coat with one of her 4 hands. The creature examined it curiously before draping it around her shoulders. The jacket looked tiny on her tall frame, but the alien woman visibly relaxed as warmth spread through her. Lisa wished she could speak to the visitor, ask her where she came from, why she was here. But the language barrier stood between them. Still, Lisa felt no fear, only wonder at meeting someone from beyond the stars. No words passed between them yet. Something deeper than language connected them. Lisa pointed to herself and said her name slowly. The alien woman seemed to understand. She placed one hand on her chest and made a musical sound that Lisa interpreted as Kira. The name had a lilting quality like notes played on a flute. Lisa repeated it, trying to match the melody. Kira nodded, her silver eyes brightening. Lisa felt proud of this small connection, a bridge between worlds. Lisa gestured toward her house, visible through the trees. Kira hesitated, unsure if she should trust this human. But the cold morning air and her damaged escape pod left her with few options. She nodded and followed Lisa through the forest. The fallen leaves crunched beneath her strange boots. She studied everything with intense curiosity. The trees, the soil, the small animals that scattered at their approach. Her world had been more desert than forest. The lush greenery of Earth seemed almost magical. The small human dwelling fascinated Kira. She had to duck to enter through the doorframe. She examined everything with wide eyes, touching objects carefully with her 4 hands. Lisa made her something warm to drink. The sweet liquid tasted nothing like the beverages on her world, but Kira found it pleasant. She sat awkwardly on a chair designed for humans with fewer limbs than she possessed. Lisa tried not to stare, but failed. The alien was the most beautiful and terrifying thing she had ever seen. Lisa tried to communicate using simple drawings and gestures. They established basic understanding. Kira showed Lisa the star system she came from, using salt and pepper shakers to demonstrate planets. Lisa seemed to grasp that Kira had fled from danger. Through crude drawings, Kira depicted the invasion, the destruction, the desperate escape. Lisa felt her heart break for this woman from the stars. She understood. Loss had happened. Worlds apart, they shared the language of grief. As the day passed, Lisa called in sick to her job. At the local library, she could not leave this strange visitor alone. Kira examined Lisa's books with great interest, seeming to study the letters and pictures. She traced the words with her fingers, memorizing the shapes. From a small device on her wrist, Kira projected images of her own written language, flowing symbols that seemed to dance on the wall. Lisa wondered if they might find common ground through writing when speech failed them. The alien spent time examining her own wounds. She applied a gel from a small pouch at her waist. The cuts sealed almost instantly. Lisa watched in amazement. Earth medicine was nowhere near that advanced. Kira noticed her interest and offered some of the gel. When Lisa showed her a small cut on her finger, the sensation was strange. A cool tingling followed by warmth. The cut disappeared without a trace. Lisa thanked her with a smile. Some things needed no translation. When night fell, Kira grew restless. She went to the window, looking at the stars with longing. Lisa understood the alien was mapping the sky, trying to orient herself in this strange new world. She brought out her laptop and opened a star map program. Kira stared at the screen with interest. Using the salt and pepper again, plus some spoons and forks, Kira tried to show Lisa where her homeworld was located, far beyond what human telescopes could see. Lisa made a bed for Kira on the couch using extra blankets. The alien examined the soft fabrics with delight, running all 4 hands over the material. She seemed especially drawn to texture differences. Lisa realized how different Earth must feel to someone from another world. Every sensation new and strange. Kira settled onto the makeshift bed, her tall frame barely fitting, so looked at Lisa with an expression that transcended species barriers. Gratitude. In the middle of the night, Lisa woke to strange sounds. Coming from the living room, she found Kira projecting images from her wrist device, scenes of a beautiful world, with strange architecture and purple skies. 2 suns hung in the sky, casting dual shadows. A bustling city filled with beings like Kira, some with different coloring but all with the same basic form. Then the images changed. Fire destruction, massive, ships darkening the sky. Lisa watched silently as Kira relived the fall of her civilization. Tears slid down the alien's face, shimmering like liquid silver in the dim light. Lisa moved to sit beside Kira, not speaking, just offering presence. Sometimes, words were not needed even between people who shared a language. The alien woman looked at Lisa with eyes full of sorrow. Lisa reached out slowly and placed a hand on one of Kira's 4 hands. The alien tensed, then relaxed, accepting the comfort offered. Kira showed more images, herself working in what appeared to be a laboratory. Others like her collaborating on some project, then soldiers breaking in, Kira fleeing with a small device clutched in her hands. The same device she now wore on her wrist morning came with new challenges. Lisa needed to get supplies, but could not leave Kira alone. The alien woman could not go out in public. Her purple skin and 4 arms would cause panic. Lisa decided to call the one person she trusted, Mary Weber, her friend, from college who taught astronomy at the local university. If anyone would understand the significance of an alien visitor, it would be Mary. Lisa made the call, speaking carefully. Mary agreed to come over, bringing food and supplies. She had always believed in life beyond Earth. Now she would meet proof. Kira sensed Lisa's tension as they waited for this new human to arrive. She stood by the window, ready to flee if necessary. Trust was still fragile between them. But Lisa had shown her kindness when she needed it most. The human had shared her home, her food, her warmth. These simple acts meant everything to a refugee from the stars. Kira wondered what her own people would have done if a human had crashed on their world. Would they have shown the same compassion? Or would fear have guided their actions? When Mary arrived, her eyes widened at the sight of Kira. She stood frozen in the doorway, her scientific mind struggling to process what she saw. An actual alien being from another world, the theoretical becoming real before her eyes. Then her humanity took over. She smiled and introduced herself carefully. Kira responded with her musical name. Mary looked from the alien to Lisa and back again. You gave an extraterrestrial your coat and brought her home for hot chocolate. Lisa shrugged. What else was I supposed to do? Mary laughed. This is why we're friends. The three women sat in Lisa's small living room, beginning the complex process of building bridges between worlds. Mary brought a tablet with translation programs. Kira studied them with interest, using her own device to scan and analyze the human technology. The alien learned quickly, picking up basic English words and phrases. By afternoon, she could say simple things. Home gone, bad ones come, I escape, find Earth. The words were basic, but the meaning clear. Kira was a refugee, the last of her kind perhaps, and she had found sanctuary with Lisa, a human who offered a coat to a shivering alien. Days passed as they developed their own communication system. Kira learned English words quickly. Her species had an aptitude for languages. Mary brought equipment from the university to study the alien technology. The three women worked together. In secret, Mary told her department head she was working on a private research project to explain her absence from campus. The less people who knew about Kira, the safer she would be. Lisa took time off work, claiming a family emergency. Her boss at the library was understanding. Lisa had never missed work before. The small house became their headquarters. Mary set up computers and scientific equipment in the living room. Kira showed them how her wrist device worked. It was both a computer and a universal translator. With Mary's help, they managed to connect it to earthly technology. The progress they made each day was remarkable. Kira explained that she was a xenobiologist on her world, studying life forms across her planet. She had been part of a team researching space travel and potential contact with other civilizations. Her people called themselves the Lirani. They had only recently developed technology to travel between stars. Their first expeditions had unfortunately drawn attention from the Zorgan Empire, a species that conquered and enslaved others. The Zorgans valued the Lirani technology and scientific knowledge. They attacked without warning or mercy. When the capital city fell, Kira escaped with important research, data stored in her wrist device. She had taken an experimental escape pod program to find the nearest habitable planet. That planet happened to be Earth. The pod was designed for emergency evacuation, not long-term space travel. The landing had been rough, damaging much of the pod systems. Kira had no way to contact her people or know if any others had survived. Lisa listened to Kira's story with growing sadness. The alien woman described a peaceful civilization devoted to knowledge and art. The Lirani had 4 arms because their evolution favored those who could multitask. They created beautiful architecture and intricate crafts. Their purple skin contained properties that absorbed and processed sunlight efficiently, giving them additional energy. Their silver eyes could see spectrums of light invisible to humans. They were gentle by nature, unprepared for the violence that destroyed their world. Mary was fascinated by Kira's biology and technology. She took notes constantly, asking questions about Lirani science. Lisa worried that Mary sometimes forgot Kira was a person who had suffered terrible loss, not just a research subject, but Kira seemed to appreciate Mary's interest. Her role as a scientist gave her purpose amid the trauma. She explained concepts patiently, even when human technology seemed primitive to her. There was no condescension in her teaching, only the joy of sharing knowledge. As Kira's English improved, she told them more about the Zorgan threat. The Empire consisted of 3 species united under one brutal leadership. They had conquered 12 planetary systems before reaching Lyra. They valued technology and resources, not culture or life. The Zorgans believed in their inherent right to rule.
All lesser beings. Their ships were massive battle cruisers with weapons that could destroy cities in minutes. Their ground troops were genetically modified for combat. Kira feared they might eventually discover Earth, though it might take decades
for them to reach this solar system. Lisa found herself growing closer to Kira despite their differences. They shared quiet moments looking at the stars, Kira pointing out where her home system would be. Though too distant to see with human eyes, they cooked meals together. Kira fascinated by Earth foods so different from her own. Lisa taught her to read English books, starting with simple stories, then moving to novels. Kira absorbed human culture through literature and the limited television. Lisa allowed. She questioned concepts humans took for granted. Why do you keep pets? Why do nations have borders? Why do you work at jobs you dislike? Her questions made Lisa see her own world differently. Mary brought news that concerned them all. Local man had reported seeing something strange in the woods near where Kira had landed. She worried that authorities might investigate the area and find the escape pod. Kira explained that the pod had a cloaking device that made it difficult to see but not impossible. Especially if someone came close enough, Lisa suggested they retrieve anything important from the pod and then bury it deeper in the woods. They would need to go at night to avoid being seen. That evening, the three women hiked through the dark forest, Kira leading the way. Her silver eyes functioned better than human vision in darkness. They found the pod still partially hidden in its small crater. The alien craft was elegant, despite its damaged condition about the size of a small car. Its surface shimmered with the same material as Kira's clothing. Lisa stood guard while Mary and Kira extracted components from the pod. Kira took a small cube that she explained contained her personal records and research data. She also recovered medical supplies and some strange devices whose purpose she could not easily explain in English. As they worked to conceal the pod, they heard voices nearby. Flashlight beams swept through the trees. People were searching the woods. Lisa motioned for the others to hide Mary, and Kira crouched behind fallen trees while Lisa stepped out to intercept the searchers. She recognized one as her neighbor Bill and two others from town. They asked if she had seen anything strange in the area. Lisa lied smoothly, saying she was just taking a late-night walk to clear her head. She suggested the lights they had seen might have been teenagers with fireworks. The men seemed satisfied with her explanation and moved off in another direction. When they returned to the house, Kira was quiet, more somber than usual. She explained that without her escape pod, she was truly stranded on Earth. She had harbored a small hope that she might someday repair it enough to send a signal to any surviving Lirani. The pod also represented her last physical connection to home. Now it was buried in earth soil, a fitting metaphor for her situation. Lisa put her arm around Kira's shoulders. They would be her home now, her and Mary. They would protect her and help her build a new life. 2 weeks after Kira's arrival, Mary brought troubling news. Unusual signals had been detected by radio astronomers at her university. The pattern was unlike anything recorded before. Mary had accessed the data without permission, knowing it might relate to Kira. When she showed the readings to the alien woman, Kira became agitated. The signals matched Zorgan communication protocols. They were scanning the solar system. Their scout ships moved faster than their main fleet. Kira had hoped it would take them years to reach Earth. It seemed they might arrive much sooner. The knowledge that Zorgans might be approaching changed everything. They needed help resources beyond what three women could provide, alone. Yet revealing Kira's existence to authorities carried its own risks. How would governments react to an alien refugee? Especially one who brought potential danger in her wake. Would they protect her or study her like a specimen? Would they believe? The threat she warned about Mary suggested approaching her department chair, Professor Alan Green, first. He was a respected scientist with government connections, but also a compassionate man. She believed he would help them. Lisa was reluctant to involve others. Kira had become her responsibility, her friend. She feared what might happen if the wrong people learned about her. But the alien woman herself settled the debate. The Zorgans posed a real threat to Earth. She could not, in good conscience, withhold information that might help protect her new home. She would meet with Professor Green and tell him everything. The Lirani valued truth and cooperation. Even if it meant risking her own safety, she would not hide while danger approached. Mary arranged the meeting carefully. Professor Green came to Lisa's house after dark, sworn to secrecy. He was a tall, thin man with kind eyes and a serious demeanor. When Kira stepped into the living room, he dropped his coffee mug in shock. The ceramic shattered on the floor, but no one moved to clean it up. The professor stared at Kira, his scientific mind visibly racing to process what his eyes were seeing. Mary made introductions, her voice steady, despite her nervousness. "This is Kira. She came to us for help. Her world was destroyed. She has information about a potential threat to Earth." Professor Green recovered quickly, moving from shock to fascination to concern as Kira told her story. He asked intelligent questions, focusing on the practical. aspects of the situation rather than getting lost in the wonder of meeting an extraterrestrial. He agreed that governments needed to be informed but suggested a careful approach. Military and intelligence agencies might react with fear. He had contacts at NASA who might serve as better intermediaries. He would need time to make arrangements. They agreed to meet again in 2 days. After the professor left, Lisa found Kira staring out the window at the night sky. The alien woman seemed lost in thought, her 4 hands clasped together in what Lisa had come to recognize as a gesture of anxiety. Lisa sat beside her, offering silent company. Kira spoke without turning. "I have brought danger to your world." Lisa shook her head. "The danger was coming anyway. You brought warning. That makes all the difference." Kira looked at her then with silver eyes full of emotion. "You gave me your coat when I was cold. Now I give you the only thing I have, knowledge." Lisa took one of Kira's hands in hers. "That is more than enough." 3 days later, they arrived at the research facility, a nondescript building surrounded by high fences and security cameras in a remote area. The sign at the entrance read, "Advanced Materials, Testing," no hint of its true purpose. Inside, a team of 12 people waited. Scientists, military officers, and government officials. Dr. Kelly had selected them carefully for their expertise and discretion. Each had signed strict confidentiality agreements. None knew exactly what they would see until Kira walked into the conference room. The reactions ranged from gasps to stunned silence. One military officer reached for his sidearm before Dr. Kelly sharply ordered him to stand down. Kira stood tall and dignified despite being scrutinized like an exhibit. Her 4 hands remained steady as she connected her wrist device to their computer systems. Lisa stayed beside her, a reassuring presence in a room full of strangers. Professor Green introduced Kira, explaining her background and the reason for this unusual meeting. The fate of Earth might depend on what they learned today. Over the next several hours, Kira shared everything she knew about the Zorgan Empire, their technology, their biology, their tactics. She explained that despite their advanced weapons, they had vulnerabilities. Their ships required a specific element for fuel, one that might not be abundant on Earth. Their troops were genetically modified for strength, but lacked adaptability in changing battle conditions. Most importantly, they relied on surprise and overwhelming force when attacking planets that had never encountered alien species before Earth. Now had something no other world had been given warning. The military officers asked the most questions, focusing on weapons and defenses. The scientists wanted to understand Zorgan technology, hoping to develop countermeasures. Government officials worried about public panic and international cooperation. Lisa watched as Kira answered patiently, her English now fluent, enough for complex explanations. The alien woman had transformed from a frightened refugee to a powerful ally. Her scientific training gave her insights that even the most brilliant humans lacked. Her first-hand experience with Zorgan tactics made her invaluable. As the meeting progressed, plans took shape. Earth would need early detection systems, satellites modified to scan for Zorgan energy signatures. New weapons based on principles Kira described might be possible with current technology. International cooperation would be essential, though sharing information about an alien threat without causing panic would require careful diplomacy. The team would expand, bringing in experts from other countries, but maintaining strict information control. The world would prepare without knowing exactly what they prepared for. Lisa found herself drawn into discussions about public response. If and when Kira's existence became known, how would ordinary people react to an alien living among them? The government officials wanted to keep her hidden indefinitely. Lisa argued passionately that Kira deserved better than to live as a secret. Her knowledge and sacrifices should be honored, not concealed. The debate grew heated until Kira herself intervened. "I will do whatever helps Earth prepare, even if it means remaining unknown for now. My people valued truth, but we also understood necessity." When the meeting ended, the team dispersed with clear assignments. Dr. Kelly would oversee the scientific research. Professor Green would coordinate with international academic partners. The military officers would develop defense strategies. The government officials would create containment protocols in case of Zorgan arrival. Kira would work primarily, with the scientific team providing technical assistance. Lisa insisted on staying involved, though her role remained unofficial. She had become Kira's cultural interpreter, helping the alien understand human reactions and emotions. They established a small apartment for Kira within the research facility, a living space and laboratory combined where she could work and rest. Lisa visited daily, bringing books, movies, and music to help Kira understand human culture. They spent evenings talking about their different worlds, finding surprising similarities, despite vast differences. Both Lirani and humans valued family, created art and music, sought knowledge and meaning. Both had known love, loss, and hope. Lisa realized that beneath the purple skin and extra arms, Kira shared the same fundamental needs as any human. Mary split her time between the university and the research facility. She monitored the strange signals which continued at irregular intervals. She helped translate Kira's technical knowledge into terms Earth scientists could understand. Her astronomy background proved useful in tracking potential Zorgan movements through the solar system. She also became the bridge between their small original group and the expanding team of specialists. Sometimes tensions arose between military and scientific priorities. Mary navigated these conflicts with patience, reminding everyone of their common goal. Weeks passed as work continued. Lisa maintained her job at the library, using vacation days and personal time to visit the facility. Her co-workers noticed her distraction, her frequent absences. They asked questions she couldn't answer truthfully. The secrecy wore on her. She had never kept secrets before. Yet she understood the necessity. Kira had become more than a fascinating alien. She was a friend, someone Lisa cared about deeply. The thought of Kira being treated as a laboratory specimen, or worse, feared as a threat, kept Lisa awake at night. She would protect her, no matter what. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. A young physicist working with concepts Kira had described developed a detection system that could identify Zorgan ships at 10 times the distance of current radar. The prototype worked in laboratory conditions but needed real-world testing. Dr. Kelly authorized a satellite launch disguised as a weather monitoring system. The modified satellite would scan for the specific energy signature Zorgan engines produced. If it worked, they could create an early warning network, giving Earth precious time to prepare. The day of the launch, Kira seemed unusually quiet. Lisa found her in the laboratory, staring at a holographic display of her home solar system projected from her wrist device. Lisa waited, silently respecting Kira's private moment. After several minutes, the alien woman spoke without turning. "Today, your people take the first true step toward defending themselves. I should feel proud of my contribution." Lisa moved closer, noticing the shimmer of tears in Kira's silver eyes, but she continued. "All I feel is grief. My world had this technology. We detected the Zorgan fleet, but we were too peaceful, too trusting. We never developed weapons, believing communication would prevail. We were wrong." Lisa placed her hand gently on one of Kira's arms. "We won't make the same mistake. The military is already developing defensive systems based on your specifications." Kira nodded. "I know your species understands conflict better than mine did. You fight among yourselves, which is tragic, but that knowledge may save you from extinction." Lisa had never thought of humanity's violent history as an advantage before. Yet Kira was right. Earth had warriors and weapons. Lyra had scientists and artists. The Zorgans had destroyed beauty but might find Earth less easily conquered. The satellite launch succeeded. The system came online, feeding data back to the research facility. Teams worked around the clock analyzing the information. For days, nothing unusual appeared. Then, exactly 1 month after deployment, the satellite detected something. A small, fast-moving object with the precise energy signature Kira had described, a Zorgan scout ship. The first confirmation that the threat was real. The OI military went on high alert, though no public announcements were made. The scout ship appeared to be performing a standard survey, not an immediate attack force. Yet its presence confirmed Kira's warnings. The Zorgan Empire had found Earth an emergency. Meeting was called at the facility. All key team members gathered to discuss the development Dr. Kelly presented, the satellite data showing the Scout's trajectory. It was currently beyond Mars' orbit, moving in a pattern consistent with reconnaissance. Their detection systems were working perfectly, tracking the ship without alerting it to their observation. The question now was, how to respond. Should they attempt communication? Signal their awareness. Prepare for immediate conflict, or continue silent observation while accelerating defense preparations. The military officers favored a show of force, demonstrating that Earth was not helpless. The scientists, including Professor Green, argued for continued observation. The government officials, worried about maintaining secrecy while preparing civilian defense systems. Kira listened to all sides before offering her perspective. The Scout is gathering preliminary data. She explained, it will return to the main fleet with its findings before any invasion force is launched. We have time, not much, but some. Use it wisely. Build your defenses. Prepare your weapons, but do not reveal that you can detect them. Let surprise be your advantage. Lisa watched Kira during the debate, seeing how the others now treated her with respect, not as an alien curiosity but as a valuable ally. Her knowledge had proven accurate, her warnings validated. The room fell silent when she spoke, a testament to how quickly she'd earned their trust. Despite the grim circumstances, Lisa felt pride. Kira had suffered unimaginable loss, yet chose to help a world not her own. She embodied the best qualities of her species: intelligence, compassion, and resilience. Lisa wondered if humanity would show the same nobility if their positions were reversed. The debate over public disclosure divided the team. Military leaders wanted continued secrecy, arguing that panic would undermine defense efforts. Scientists pushed for limited transparency, believing global cooperation required some level of truth. Government officials favored a gradual approach, revealing the existence of extraterrestrial life without specifying threats. Kira herself remained neutral, understanding the complexities of human society too well to offer simple solutions. She trusted Earth leaders to know their own people. After days of discussion, a compromise emerged. The president would address the nation, announcing that evidence of intelligent alien life had been confirmed. A limited scientific delegation would be introduced, who had been studying the evidence. No mention would be made of Kira or the Zorgan threat initially. The public would be given time to adjust to the reality of extraterrestrial life before learning about potential dangers. The military would continue defense preparations under the guise of routine modernization. International allies would receive more complete briefings, preparing a unified response when full disclosure became necessary. Lisa worried about Kira's reaction to being kept hidden. The alien woman had become a crucial ally, yet would remain unknown to the world she helped protect. When Lisa expressed these concerns, Kira surprised her with equanimity. My people valued truth but also understood its weight. She explained, some truths must be carried gradually, their weight distributed carefully, or they break those who bear them. Your leaders wish to prepare your people. I respect this approach. Lisa marveled at Kira's wisdom. The alien often seemed to understand humanity better than humans themselves. The president's address was carefully crafted, acknowledging the momentous nature of the announcement while emphasizing that contact remained limited. Scientific evidence was presented, photographs of the probe presented. As a derelict object found in orbit, Professor Green served as the primary scientific spokesperson, explaining how the technology confirmed non-human origin. The public reaction ranged from excitement to skepticism to fear. Religious leaders called for calm and reflection. Scientists worldwide demanded access to the evidence. Conspiracy theorists claimed vindication. Social media exploded with theories, memes, and heated debates. The first phase of disclosure had begun. Behind-the-scenes preparations accelerated. The successful interception of the Zorgan probe provided valuable technology to study. The materials composing the craft, the propulsion system, the communication array all yielded insights Earth scientists might have taken decades to discover independently. Kira helped translate alien engineering concepts into terms humans could understand. Her expertise bridged the vast technological gap between Earth and the Zorgan Empire. Mary coordinated with astronomers worldwide, establishing a network of observers tracking deep space for any sign of returning ships. Professor Green managed academic contributions, integrating theoretical work with practical applications. Lisa found her role evolving as the project expanded. She became Kira's official liaison, managing her schedule and translating her technical explanations into accessible language. When tensions arose between military and scientific factions, Lisa mediated, emphasizing their common goals. She also continued helping Kira understand human culture and emotions. The alien woman struggled with concepts like nationalism, religious diversity, and entertainment. Lisa explained these patiently, using books, movies, and history as examples. Their friendship deepened through these exchanges, each woman offering insights from her unique perspective. 2 months after the scout ship's departure, Mary detected new signals far beyond Pluto. These matched the energy signature of larger Zorgan vessels. A fleet was approaching, smaller than a full invasion force but more substantial than a reconnaissance mission. Kira estimated their arrival time at 6 weeks. Earth had prepared as much as possible in the limited time available. Defense satellites now orbited the planet. Equipped with weapons based on Lirani science, military forces had trained with new technology. Governments had coordinated response protocols. The question remained, would it be enough? The president called for a second address to the nation. This time, the message included more truth. The approaching ships were identified as potentially hostile. Earth was preparing defensive measures. No mass evacuation was possible, so people should continue their normal activities with increased vigilance. Emergency protocols were being established globally. Kira listened to the broadcast from the research facility, watching as humans around the world learned they might face an alien threat. She felt responsible, though the Zorgans were not her doing. She had brought knowledge of them, but also the seeds of resistance. Her presence might help save a world not her own. Public reaction to the threat announcement varied widely. Some panicked, buying supplies and fleeing cities. Others denied the reality, claiming government conspiracy. Religious gatherings swelled as people sought comfort and faith. Scientists worked frantically to understand the new reality. Military enlistment surged as young people volunteered to defend Earth. Most simply continued their daily routines with an undercurrent of anxiety. The resilience of humans impressed Kira. She noted how quickly they adapted to a transformed worldview. She told Lisa that this adaptability might be humanity's greatest strength. The Lirani had been too rigid in their thinking, too committed to their peaceful ways to adjust when violence came. As the Zorgan fleet approached, debate intensified about Kira's public introduction. Dr. Kelly argued that revealing her existence would demonstrate that not all alien species were hostile, that cooperation between different life forms was possible. The military countered that public fear might focus on the alien already among them, regardless of her contributions. Government officials worried about protecting Kira from potential violence. Lisa advocated strongly for Kira's right to choose. She had earned the right to determine her own fate on this adopted world. The alien woman considered all perspectives before making her decision. "I will meet your people," Kira announced during a strategy session. Her silver eyes swept the room, challenging anyone to contradict her. "I will show them that the universe contains friends as well as enemies, that different forms can share common values, that cooperation strengthens all who practice it." The room fell silent, her words resonating with undeniable truth. Dr. Kelly nodded in agreement. Professor Green smiled with pride. The military officers looked uncertain, but offered no objection. Lisa felt tears in her eyes. Kira had traveled light years only to find herself at the center of Earth's greatest crisis. Yet she stood tall, ready to face whatever came next. The introduction was carefully staged. The president would present Kira in a live, global broadcast explaining her role in helping Earth prepare. Security would be massive, both to protect Kira and to manage public response. Lisa would stand beside her, a visual reminder of human and alien cooperation. Professor Green and Dr. Kelly would provide scientific context. Mary would monitor communications, ensuring the broadcast reached every corner of Earth. They rehearsed extensively, preparing for questions, reactions, and potential problems. Kira practiced her speech a message of solidarity and hope. She would wear traditional Lirani garments showcasing her cultural identity while addressing her adopted world. The night before the broadcast, Lisa found Kira in her quarters, meditating. The alien woman sat cross-legged on the floor, all four hands in precise positions. Her eyes closed, her breathing slow. Lisa waited quietly until Kira acknowledged her presence. The alien opened her silver eyes. "I am preparing myself," she explained. "My people believed that in moments of great significance one should center the mind and spirit." Lisa nodded, understanding despite cultural differences. "Are you afraid?" she asked gently. Kira considered before answering. "I feel concern not for myself, but for how my presence might affect your world. The revelation may unite your people or divide them. That responsibility weighs heavily." The broadcast began with the president addressing a global audience, explaining the unprecedented nature of the announcement. Cameras cut to a secure location, where Kira waited with Lisa, Professor Green, and Dr. Kelly. The alien woman stood tall, her purple skin luminous under the lights. Her four arms relaxed at her sides. She wore flowing garments in deep blue with silver patterns that shifted with her movements. A collective gasp echoed around the world as humans saw a true extraterrestrial for the first time. Not a crashed probe or distant ship, but a living, thinking being from beyond Earth. Kira stepped forward with dignity and spoke, her voice musical yet clear. "My name is Kira." She began, "I come from a world called Lyra, now destroyed by the same force that approaches Earth. I came here as a refugee and found kindness." She gestured toward Lisa. "This human offered me shelter when I was lost." Her simple compassion bridged the gap between our worlds. She explained briefly her background as a scientist, how she had escaped during the invasion of her planet, her crash landing on Earth, and subsequent collaboration with humans to prepare defenses. "I stand before you as living proof that different species can work together, can find common ground in the face of shared threats. The universe is vast, containing wonders and terrors. My people encountered the latter. I hope that together, we might show the Zorgans that Earth will not fall as easily as Lyra." Tension filled the command center as technicians worked to decode the Zorgan transmission. Mary coordinated with communication experts, worldwide pooling resources to understand the unexpected message. Kira provided translation algorithms from her wrist device, though. Zorgan dialects differed from those she had encountered on Lyra. Military leaders maintained defense readiness, suspicious of a diversion or trap. Lisa watched the controlled chaos, wondering what had changed, what had made conquerors pause before striking. After 30 minutes of intensive analysis, the translation appeared on main screens. The message was brief but clear. "We seek the Lirani scientist. Your defense of the probe impressed us. Surrender her and we will spare your world." The room fell silent, all eyes turning to Kira. The alien woman stood motionless, her silver eyes wide with shock. "They know I am here," she whispered. "They detected my technology signature when we disabled their probe. They came for me, not for Earth." The realization hit everyone simultaneously. The scout had not been merely surveying a new planet. It had detected Lirani technology and reported back. Kira was the target. The military commanders immediately began discussing options: protective custody, secure facilities, contingency plans. Dr. Kelly suggested examining the message for deception. Professor Green questioned whether compliance would actually ensure safety. Lisa moved to Kira's side, seeing the weight of responsibility descend on her friend. The alien woman had escaped one world only to bring danger to another. The guilt in her expression was unmistakable. "This is not your fault," Lisa said firmly. Taking one of Kira's hands, "You warned us, helped us, prepared us. We would face the Zorgans eventually. At least now we know why they came." A secure communication from the president arrived requesting recommendations. The team debated intensely. No one suggested surrendering Kira, though the possibility hung unspoken in the air. The alien woman herself remained silent, listening to the discussions until she finally raised her hand for attention. I must respond. She said simply, "It is my presence. They detected my technology. They seek. I should communicate directly." Military leaders objected, citing security risks, but Kira persisted. "They know I am here. They want me specifically. If I speak to them, I may learn their true intentions. Words may reveal more than silence." After heated debate, permission was granted for a controlled response. Kira would transmit a brief message asking for clarification, not admitting her presence but not denying it either. The communication would be carefully worded to reveal nothing about Earth's defenses or Kira's specific location security. Protocols would prevent signal tracing. The transmission would last less than 30 seconds, minimizing risk. Kira composed her message with care. "My name is Kira, formerly of Lyra. Why does the Zorgan Empire seek me? What do you want with one survivor when you have destroyed an entire civilization?" The response came more quickly than expected, appearing on screens throughout the facility. "The Lyrani scientist carries valuable research. The last data from the central laboratory of Lyra. We detected its signature. We require this knowledge. Surrender the scientist and the research. Earth will remain untouched. Refuse and face consequences." Kira stared at the message, her four hands trembling slightly. "They want my research," she explained, her voice hollow with realization. "My team was developing interstellar transportation technology, faster, more efficient than anything the Zorgans possess. I escaped with our final data. My wrist device contains everything they want. Our science, not our planet." The implications were enormous. The Zorgan Empire feared Lyrani technology spreading to other worlds. They had destroyed Lyra to control its science. Now they pursued the last scientist and her research to Earth. The planet itself held little interest for them except as leverage. This changed strategic calculations dramatically. Earth was not the primary target but collateral in the Zorgans' quest for technological dominance. Lisa watched as military leaders recalibrated their thinking. If the aliens wanted Kira and her research, not Earth itself, different approaches might work. Different negotiation strategies, different defense priorities. Kira requested privacy to examine her research data. The information she had carried across light years now stood at the center of an interplanetary conflict. Lisa accompanied her to her quarters, watching as the alien woman activated holographic displays from her wrist device. Complex equations and diagrams filled the air, symbols Lisa could not begin to understand. Kira moved through the information, her four hands manipulating data with practiced precision. Her expression grew more troubled with each passing minute. "The transportation technology my team developed," she finally explained. "It could revolutionize space travel. But in Zorgan hands, it could also expand their empire exponentially, allowing them to conquer worlds currently beyond their reach." The ethical dilemma was clear. Surrendering the research might spare Earth, but doom countless other civilizations. Refusing meant facing the full might of the Zorgan fleet with uncertain odds of success. Kira sat heavily on her bed, her tall frame bending under invisible weight. "They destroyed my world to control this knowledge," she said bitterly. "Now they threaten yours for the same reason." Lisa sat beside her, offering silent support. The decision seemed impossible: either sacrifice other worlds or risk their own. Yet as they sat together, an idea began forming in Kira's mind. Her silver eyes brightened. "There may be another option," she said slowly. "Neither surrender nor direct confrontation. Something my people never considered because it contradicted our peaceful nature." When they returned to the command center, Kira requested permission to address the leadership team. Her plan was audacious, perhaps desperate, but offered a third path. "The Zorgan Empire wants my research," she explained, "not to use it, but to control it. They fear other civilizations developing technology that could challenge their dominance. They destroyed Lyra to maintain their advantage. Now they pursue me for the same reason." She activated her wrist device, projecting complex schematics. "What if we offered them corrupted data research that appears valuable but contains fatal flaws? They would not detect the problems immediately. By the time they discovered the deception, they would have withdrawn from Earth. The military commanders looked skeptical. How could they trust the Zorgans to honor any agreement even temporarily? Dr. Kelly raised concerns about technological sabotage requiring expertise beyond current human understanding. Professor Green questioned whether such deception might provoke worse retaliation when discovered valid. Objections Kira acknowledged, but she had anticipated them. She had already begun modifying her research, introducing subtle errors that would appear as transmission degradation, not deliberate sabotage. The Zorgans would blame data corruption during her escape, not intentional deception. They would withdraw to analyze their prize, giving Earth time to further prepare, and the errors, while significant, would not be immediately catastrophic. They would fail gradually, allowing time for distance. The President approved the plan with conditions. Defense systems would remain at full readiness. International forces would maintain high alert. Civilian protection measures would continue. The deception might buy time, nothing more. Kira understood the limitations. She worked through the night altering her research data with Mary and Dr. Kelly. Assisting engineers prepared a special transmission device that would send the information while appearing to surrender the wrist device itself. Maintaining the illusion was crucial. The Zorgans must believe they had secured both the scientist and her technology. Only the corrupted research would actually transfer. Dawn broke as preparations completed. Kira recorded her message to the Zorgan fleet. I am Kira, last scientist of the Lyra Central Laboratory. I possess the transportation research you seek. I will surrender this knowledge in exchange for Earth's safety. The transmission included enough authentic data to appear genuine with the sabotage. Hidden beneath layers of complex calculations, Lisa watched as Kira prepared for the most important deception of two worlds. The alien woman looked solemn, yet determined. This is what my people should have done, she said quietly. Not surrender, not futile resistance, but strategic deception, using the enemy's greed against them. The response from the Zorgan fleet came within hours. They accepted the terms with modifications. Kira would transfer her research via specified protocols. Their ships would withdraw from Earth orbit once verification was complete. No mention was made of Kira's personal safety, confirming suspicions that they intended to capture not just her data, but the scientist herself. The military prepared countermeasures, ensuring that while the research transferred, Kira herself remained secure. The Zorgan Empire had never faced this kind of resistance. Worlds typically surrendered or fought directly and lost. This combined approach of apparent compliance with hidden sabotage represented new territory. The transmission began at noon, a complex data stream flowing from Earth to the Zorgan command ship. The information appeared complete, authentic, valuable. Only Kira and her small team knew about the fatal flaws embedded within. The process took hours. Complex verification protocols passing back and forth. Military forces worldwide remained on highest alert. Civilian populations waited in tense anticipation. Leaders watched monitors showing the Zorgan fleet. Maintaining position, Earth held its breath as the fate of the planet hung in the balance. A single miscalculation could trigger immediate attack.